What are some of South Africa's most iconic images? Off the top, I'm thinking Sam Nzima with the photo that started a revolution. Heard about him before? How about Jabu King or Alon Skuy? We've seen many of these images, even in passing, so is it just us, or do we always admire the final product, overlook the producer, and most importantly, neglect the process? A lot has changed in this regard in the past couple of years, most notably abroad, where photographers have leveraged their extensive catalogue of A-listers to create concerts, open record label style companies to sign other photographers, or even create magazines. They are rewriting the shooter's narrative. This shows us the endless possibilities, but the name of the game is to first take advantage of the virtually free photography exhibits that exist on the internet. We need to accept that even a profession as earnest as photography is changing with the times, because we can't deny the fact that social media has become the non-traditional way for photographers to market their skills, and it works. This inevitably presents new challenges that surprisingly span from professional to existential. So how does one take on such an enormous task? This is The Game Unfolded, and we present to you the art of a frame.
This one year, my father had his shop, and he decided for whatever reason that he wanted a new wall on the front of his shop. So he tore down probably about 16 feet high and probably about 30 feet long. He just completely tore the wall down, and my brother and I had to dig a 6-foot hole. We
for
were
the
mixing
foundation.
for the foundation, and we would mix in the concrete by hand. A year and a half. We were building this wall for a year and a half, and I learned very young. You don't try to build a wall. You don't set out to build a wall. You don't say, I'm going to build the biggest, baddest, greatest wall that's ever been built. You don't start there. You say, I'm going to lay this brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid. There will not be one brick on the face of the earth that's going to be laid better than this brick that I'm going to lay in this next 10 minutes. And you do that every single day.
And soon you have a wall.
And soon you have a wall.
We decided to take this brick analogy in the most literal sense, and we were curious to see if we could lay a perfect one for the photography game. The properties of a brick comprise of certain elements, and a few of them include its shape, density, and size. Let's say that the shape is represented by a steady stream of clients who trust the photographer's vision and hold their work to a high regard. The density is represented by equipment. These are the essential items like prime lenses, hard drives, memory cards and card holders, carrying bags, tripod, reflectors. Lastly, depending on the type of photography you do, the size of the brick is represented by the expense and logistics of owning your own studio. Interestingly enough, this led us down a path of uncovering what we think the mystery of the frame is. In his book Story, Style, Structure, Substance, and the Principles of Screenwriting, Robert McKee says that the murder mystery genre is seen from the master detective's point of view. Our detective is a 23-year-old Johannesburg-based photographer who has been able to make a name for himself because of his attention to detail and knack for consistently capturing moments of joy, celebrations, and milestones in a distinct style that makes the seemingly insignificant visually significant. Isn't that what great photography is all about? Couple that with a solid reputation with clientele, which is what a white glove service gets you. However, the most underrated quality about RikoStillz is how he was able to scale his brand since he began working professionally in 2019. Firstly, it's not just the maximization of the combo between photographer and graphic designer, where image and illustration work together for an artist's marketing in the form of album covers and billboards. They say good photographers make the designer's job easy. Great photos with no place for text generally do not make for great design, so the right collaboration between these two entities assists in creating a visual identity for the image. From a stern pose to the president of the streets. Dominance. It's also the consistency in posting of content. In a saturated market like photography, it's important to break through the noise by coming up with different strategies for your social media marketing on a regular basis in order to keep you in the front of people's minds. That's enthusiasm towards your brand. What we're trying to say is that photography has an emotional component to it. So using these elements in unison allows for a shooter's brand to create an authentic rapport with clients, because they aren't just paying for pictures. A good frame instills confidence. What makes this brand story incredible to us is the fact that in the beginning, many of these people could have gone to any professional studio in the city, but instead opted for the kid working in his parents' basement. His brand helps your brand because you realize that you're part of something larger every time you book a session. Now that we've looked at what he's done, let's look at the man behind the brand and investigate what makes him capable.
My name is Malwandla, Rikhotso, otherwise known as RikoStillz. I'm a photographer from Midrand. I grew up this side, I was raised this side, but I was born in Pretoria. But I also consider myself from Limpopo. Yeah.
Shout out. So in this first chapter, we're going to address what makes you capable. So what is purpose and what does it mean to you?
So purpose is, I suppose, living a life that's meaningful to you. It doesn't matter if, no matter how much money you get, how much success you get from it. Purpose isn't a goal. That's what it is to me. It's not a goal, it's not a destination, it doesn't end, you know. I feel like it's a continuous thing that like you build onto every day, you work at every day, you know. You wake up to your purpose every day, you know. You have a reason. Purpose is something you have a reason to do every day, you know.
Purpose is the transport that takes you from questioning if you're capable to knowing that you can. But you don't just have purpose. It's the seeds planted in the beginning through encouragement to explore interests and values. What is the biggest lesson about photography that you learned?
That you mustn't let a client walk over you. She mustn't let a client walk all over you.
When you combine that with the room to make mistakes, these aspects help carry you through the uncertainties that come with today's world. But if you ask us, RikoStillz' purpose comes in the form of small affirmations that prepare them for the uncertainty. These affirmations are personified by the perfect parent versus the good enough parent. Where were you when you found out that trick and the way you were coming to South Africa?
I was in this house. I was just a year young. I think you're supposed to be 13 and a half. I was 12. And I was really excited to go because when I just started listening to Drake. You know, She Will had just come out, you know what I mean? It was hot, they were popping, you know, and Rick Ross was here, I really wanted to go. But my mom was like, nah, you're too young, so, you know, it's a bummer.
Why do you think that was their response?
I mean, it would have been any parent's response, really. I mean, like, even if I had a kid, like, you're just too young. Like, not that I don't want you to go, you're just too young, you know, and I feel like, sometimes I feel if I fought it a bit more, they would have let me go, you know? But, like, it is what it is, man. Maybe one day I'll see.
Basically, the affirmations are know, wait, or earn. The perfect parent is the one that gets you what you want, when you want. And that's not what a budding creative needs. But the good enough parent, on the other hand. Why do you think young people shouldn't rush to leave the nest?
I think young people shouldn't rush to leave the nest because it is a blessing to be able to stay at home and being given the time to figure things out, you know what I mean? Because that way you can leave the nest with a clear mind, you know what I mean? Not to say that you must stay there forever, but just stay there long enough, especially after like varsity and after school. I always suggest that you must leave only like after you've done school, you know, depending on how your life is set up, you know. So if you're someone who just finished school and you're still staying at home, you know, try to figure it out. Obviously money is a thing, so if you can afford to move out the house, then move out only when you have it all figured out. Not everything, but just enough, you know. Your parents can see when you're ready and when they're not, as much as you don't, you know. And also you must be realistic with yourself, and whatever they tell you. Sometimes might come across as like, they just want you to stay, they don't want you to like live your best life or whatever. But like as soon as you move out, dog, you're not trying to come back, bro. You're not trying to come back. So yeah.
The good enough parent prepares you for life by telling you no if they can't, telling you to wait until next month, or if you're lucky, ask you what you've done to deserve it. It's not just you can do it. You are being taught resistance and learning what to do when facing that resistance.
Let's talk about that. What is the noise in the industry and how do you silence it?
I guess the noise in the industry would be, I think, comparing yourself to other people, pressure on delivering, I guess, the best content, and also the right content, content that you enjoy, content that other people enjoy, but also like being yourself amongst all of that.
How do you silence that noise?
How do you silence that noise? I think a good thing to do is to firstly get positive criticism, whether it's good criticism or bad criticism, especially from like if you know someone who you deem as better than you in photography. Ask them like, yo, dude, what do you truly think about this picture? Even if it's bad, just tell me, and that's totally fine. I'm just trying to learn.
Question, what is the ceiling?
So what is the ceiling? The ceiling right now is finding the style, finding like your aesthetic, finding your sound, I guess, finding the flow. Because once you find that, like, it's easy to navigate. It becomes easier to navigate through like the type of work you want to do, who you want to work with, and how you want to work with them. You know what I mean? And also like people wanting to work with you because they know that they're coming to you for this specific reason. And your style by style I don't mean like a preset or like the colors of your whatever, you know what I mean? I mean deeper than that, like your angles, how you retouch, how you take the images, the lighting, obviously the colors, etc.
It seems to us that this life thing, it's more than just status and admiration, more than just mistakes, failures, and conquering goals. It's about having a direction, because it's not about the destination, it's about the journey.